Tonight is the last night that you can eat indoors at restaurants in San Francisco. The city is now shutting down dining rooms as of 11:59 tonight due to a spike in COVID cases. Now, just 6 weeks ago, San Francisco allowed indoor dining for the first time, but the number of cases started to increase. San Francisco remains in the least restrictive yellow tier in the state's reopening plan, but the mayor does expect that could change. Joining us now is David Nayfield, executive chef and co-owner of Che Fico restaurant and Che Fico Alimentari in San Francisco. And thank you so much once again, chef, for being here.
Thank you.
Now, obviously, this is not the news that restaurant owners wanted to hear. How does it feel now to be right back to square one?
Well, I mean, I can't say that it's completely unexpected. I think we in the restaurant industry are people that make a plan A, a plan B, a plan C just by habit. And when we're being told that we're going to open to 25% indoor dining with a potential for 50% indoor dining, I think all of us were skeptical to begin with. The folks that you saw open up were testing the waters either because they needed to, because they really needed to get some income or revenue in. Or maybe they felt like they had mitigated the risk somehow. I'll say, though, that it does feel deflating for any of those folks that took the city at their word or the state at their word and then opened up, not recognizing the fact that this is a dynamic situation, and that's why I think it underscores the need for federal aid, because with federal aid, we can go through this fluctuating situation back and forth and still have the safety net to not have to completely shutter if we make an expenditure to open and then have to shut down again.
Yeah, Chef, you are one of the more vocal advocates of a relief bill, a targeted relief bill that you're hoping federal lawmakers pass. Explain how that bill would help restaurants.
So the Restaurant Act is a bill that is set for $120 billion. The version in the House of Representatives was written by Congressman Blumenauer. The version in the Senate was written by Senator Roger Wicker, a Democrat and a Republican. So you have bipartisan support on this. It's probably some of the most efficiently spent money that you can ask for in terms of stimulus. It's targeted towards restaurants. Independently owned restaurants happen to employ more than any other business, privately owned business in the country. We also produce more to the tax bases and the GDP than any other industry as well. And so I think that the way we're kind of seeing this play out is that this is going to be an ebbs and flow type of situation. It's going to stay very dynamic. So what this does is it takes 2019 revenues and it compares them to 2020. Now, if you're a place that was poised to do to-go food and you did very well in 2020 and you're up year over year, then you're not going to take any money. If you're a business that has been struggling and you lost a ton of revenue, this will give you money that will give you the ability to pay your vendors, pay some employees. You'll also be able to pay your landlords. So it's a very efficient way of spending money. Also, for every dollar that goes into an independent restaurant, 95 cents usually walks right back out of the door within the next 30-day financial period. So like I said, this is a great way for the federal government to target spending and to save jobs.
Yeah, it totally makes sense to me, Chef. It really is to help small independent restaurants. Why then has it not been approved?
Political gamesmanship is the best way that I can describe it. It was taken up and passed in the House and then added to the HEROES Act, obviously, because the HEROES Act has become a bit partisan and polarizing. The Senate hasn't wanted to take on the HEROES Act. But there is a bill, a standalone bill that can get passed that has support both in the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, because I need to remind people, restaurants are not about red states or blue states. Small businesses are not about Republicans and Democrats. It's Main Street folks, blue collar folks that provide jobs and they provide tax basis. So I would say, honestly, the only thing happening right now is you have two parties that refuse to kind of come to the table and just make something happen for the American people when we're all desperately in need.
Yeah, the only thing happening right now, Chef, is that nothing is happening. Just before I let you go, though, this idea that now indoor dining is off limits. You have the cold weather creeping in here in San Francisco. How difficult is it going to be over the next couple of months?
I mean, the story writes itself, right? COVID to, small businesses and restaurants is, in a lot of ways, especially if you're not a restaurant that was specifically designed towards takeout, meaning that your whole margin and your whole, concept for space and how much you pay for rent was designed on takeout. COVID is, and I know that this is a really tragic example, but it's like taking a death pill, like a cyanide pill. You just don't know when it's going to kill you. And that's what most restaurants are struggling with right now, whether they can forecast 4 months out or whether they can forecast 2 months out, they don't know. And that's the problem with something like a program like PPP or taking on added debt, because you're taking on added debt and you have no idea how you're going to be able to service that debt. And that's why the Restaurants Act is crucial and why we at the Independent Restaurant Coalition are fighting so hard to get it passed.
Yeah, and continue that fight, Chef. Really appreciate it. The uncertainty, obviously one component of the coronavirus, but the inability of lawmakers to really get anything done is another aspect. Really appreciate it, Chef David Nayfield. Thanks so much and best of luck to you.
Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.